What a match between Bayern Munich and PSG. PSG found themselves 2-0 up, Bayern getting it back to 2-2, but Mbappe gives PSG the advantage going into the second leg in Paris next week. So much to talk about regarding this game, but Jurgen, let's just start with you. Overall, just a brilliant match to watch.
Yeah, an absolute brilliant match to watch. I think we all enjoyed it. Obviously, from a German perspective, you would have rather Bayern Munich, scoring 5, 6, 7 goals. They had enough chances to win this game, but you got to give a compliment to Paris Saint-Germain. They started well. They were highly aggressive. Mbappe brought them up, and then the second goal with Marquinhos. But then it's typical Bayern Munich. They're going to come back, and they came back. I mean, Hansi Flick had to make some adjustments already in the first half with Goretzka. It seems like he was injured a little bit, and then he subbed out Süle, brought in Boateng. But especially Alphonso Davies coming in on the left flank, he made a little bit of a difference. And they pushed and they created chances after chances. I think Thomas Müller played an outstanding game. They equalized it, and then Mbappe made the third goal. I think, overall, a tie maybe would have been a more honest result, but it's going to be wide open for the second leg. I mean, even if Paris comes away with a win, it's not over yet. I think Bayern Munich will go to Paris next week and give them a real go, and anything can happen there in Paris next week.
Craig, this was almost like a basketball game, just end-to-end stuff continuously for 90 minutes.
Well, when you play against Bayern, if you're a good side and you've got that quality in the counter, then that's what's going to happen, because Bayern are rarely going to change too much for anybody. They press, they have the high line, and they attack, and they like to switch play, and they leave themselves open at times, and we saw that early on. So that's the sort of Bayern way of doing things. It was the same in the final against PSG. I think they defended a lot better in the final, but they've got to learn from the mistakes when they go to Paris. And if they do that and they can plug a few more holes, I think they can win this tie, because really for long periods, PSG were struggling to get out past the press, and the ball was just coming back and wave after wave after wave. And listen, Choupo-Moting didn't do anything wrong. He scored a great goal. He was unlucky with another couple of balls dinked into the box that were defended well by Danilo. But let's be frank about this. If the main man was playing today, he would have had himself quite a few, Mr. Lewandowski.
Yeah, there was lots of chances for Bayern. Meanwhile, for PSG, Frank, a number of people have tweeted us to remind us that you said Neymar shouldn't have started this game.
Yeah, it's a lesson for me, and I accept all the criticism, You shouldn't make a statement about football because you can be smashed in the face the day after. The truth of the day is not necessarily the truth of the day after, and I can accept the criticism. Now, having said that, I think I want to emphasize the fact that Navas did the game as Ghana and Mbappe. Of course, Neymar had 2 very good assists, but overall during the game, those 3 players may be getting crazy in front of my TV because they had a fantastic game. I don't know if Paris Saint-Germain deserved that win. I don't think so. I think they've been very fortunate. 31 shot in goal for Bayern Munich. That's huge. Yeah. That's huge. And remember that the first leg against Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain had a fantastic game because they played in contre-attack. It wasn't the same story away from home. So within a week, we're going to see what's going on. But as Jurgen said, it's a very open tie, and it's obviously not done for Paris Saint-Germain. They have to work hard the second leg if they want to make sure they're going to go through.
Frank, obviously, PSG gave up chances against Bayern, but this is still a different PSG side that we've seen struggling in the league. They just seem to be up for this game a lot more.
Well, the thing I always said about that team is that, of course, they have talent, but it's when they work as a team that they can have a win. They did the first leg against Barcelona because they played all together. They were strong in the middle of the park, like tonight, and they got that result. But when Neymar, when Draxler, and even Di Maria wants to work defensively and help Gay and Danilo in the middle of the park, and after Herrera, it's a plus. It's definitely a plus. The problem is those players don't do the work most of the time. But when they do, Paris Saint-Germain is one of the best teams in the world, and they showed it today, with a little bit of luck, I have to say.
And Keylor Navas standing on his head, Shaka, at times. A goalkeeper that you've continuously supported.
Yeah, I've said it time and time again. I think Keylor Navas is hugely underrated, and again continues to prove exactly why I feel as strongly as I do about him. We've spoken about his time in Madrid and what it meant to them, and you see it again for PSG. I felt in many respects he was the missing piece to PSG, really challenging for European honours. And you saw that last season, you saw it again today, coming up trumps. In very difficult circumstances, I have to say, I think when you look at the first goal that PSG scored, and just how I think Bayern Munich maybe struggled to cope with PSG's pace on the counter-attack, especially early on, I felt that the snowy conditions played a huge part in both of those. Yet Keylor Navas somehow never seemed to be put off by it, seemed comfortable throughout, and is a huge reason why PSG head back to Paris in the position that they're in.
Once Bayern got that equaliser, Jurgen, I think we all thought they were then going to kick on and go on to win this game. But then just a piece of brilliance from Kylian Mbappe to get that third goal. From a striker's perspective, just talk us through how difficult it is what he did.
Well, when he kind of ran away in this counter break, it reminded me a little bit of what he did in the World Cup in Russia. You know, it goes so fast. You know, he can pick up the pace, then he can slow it down. The defender in this moment, with Boateng, he didn't know, should I go closer to him or should I give him 2 or 3 yards, because I don't want him to dribble me now and pass me. And this made a difference because he was waiting for the split second until Boateng opened his legs, and he shot it through his legs, you know, and this beautiful third goal. And that shows the class that Mbappe has. He's a difference maker. He can punish you any second of the game, and got to give him a compliment, a real big compliment today of how he played.
Craig, how do you go about trying defending that sort of attack?
Well,
you run in the dressing room and you start crying because there is nothing much to do. There is nothing much to do. I mean, that's completely crazy. Well, when you have somebody like him, and I play against Thierry Henry, I play against Ronaldo, I play against Jurgen Klinsmann, you know, when you face those type of players who are capable of doing everything, you just pray to make the good choice. So just, you know, launching your leg at a certain time where you think you can catch the ball. And that's the problem with Boateng today. He never had that chance. He never had that chance to launch his leg and try to get the ball, because Mbappe is so fast, is so tricky that you cannot cope with that. It's why he's maybe one of the best strikers in the world, because he's unmanageable for a defender.
Craig?
So when you're playing against somebody like Mbappe, you have to, your positional sense as a defender or a defensive midfielder has to be so much better, because, you know, you have to understand when there's pressure on the ball and there's no pressure, and you can't do what Bayern did at times. It was just rush out with the head down and hope to catch people offside. It was Marquinhos to get in for the Neymar cross. I don't know if Sula was already injured, but he came out, he wasn't even looking, he was staring at the ground. So your positional sense when you play against a player like that has to completely change at times, and sometimes you're just going to drop off and try and hold a player up until you get support back in there, so that he hasn't got you one-on-one, or he hasn't got that space to run into. It's difficult when you're trying to play a certain way, as Bayern do, but it's something for them to think about next week or coming up before the next game, because if they don't, it could be one of the reasons that they head out. But let's be honest, and the difference between these teams is, if you take Mbappe out of PSG, they're screwed, right? Simple as that. I mean, Neymar's a talent, we know that, but I think at this level, they're done. You could still talk about Bayern winning the Champions League, no doubt. Tougher, yes, but without Lewandowski, because they're a team. And they have others that can do, not do a job of 40-plus goals a season, of course, but they have others that can sort of complement his absence, and they can still manage to put together, like they did today, a very good attacking performance to a point. Just didn't get maybe the rub of the green or that quality in the final third that might have seen them get 4 or 5, or as Shaq said, Keylor Navas making saves. With Mbappe, with PSG, it's different. They are so heavily reliant on that pace in behind. I think if Bayern can somehow nullify the majority of that, I see Bayern going through if they put in another performance like they did tonight, but just defend a little bit better.
Jurgen, how would you assess Neymar's performance today?
Oh, I thought he had a good performance. He had a good presence. Obviously, did his assists, but he was a team player. You know, he was helping out defensively. He tried to kind of get out there in counter breaks and make something happen. I think it was a very good professional performance by Neymar, especially after what happened on the weekend in the league. You know, he seemed balanced, he seemed calm, but he had a good, also physical presence. He took a couple of fouls, he just got up, he moved on right away. No, I got to give him a big compliment today.
Craig?
Yeah, actually, I thought there was. I mean, I know he was involved in a couple of the goals at least, but I actually thought in the second half, in particular, he actually delayed a couple of passes, or a couple that he gave away that were simple, but he actually delayed a couple of passes when Mbappe had already made some very good runs, or at least two. One in which he was right through, he was caught offside, and I thought if he was a little sharper in that passing under no pressure and released it earlier, actually Mbappe would have been in more than he was. So yeah, it was a good performance away from home as a number 10 in behind. But I thought it could have been better with some of the runs that Kylian Mbappe made.
Jurgen, the Bayern team that finished the game very different to the Bayern team that started the match. You mentioned a couple of injuries, obviously a couple of tactical switches as the game went on. How much should Flick take responsibility for the fact that they were so open at the back throughout this game?
No, I think there's obviously, you know, goals happen because you make mistakes. Otherwise, there are no goals at all. So they made, obviously, the first goal very unusual for Manuel Neuer that he lets that ball in from Mbappe. That's usually a shot he blocks easily, blindly he does that. Then, you know, if you go through it, I think overall it was a very good performance of Bayern Munich. He had to make the adjustments with Goretzka and then also with Süle because of injuries. And they worked out well. I mean, especially Alphonso Davies on the left side then did a great job. And Alaba, he can play everywhere. He can play in center back, or he can play on the wings, or he can play also in defensive midfield. So that all played out fine for Hansi Flick. I think the only thing that didn't play out was they should have scored a couple of more goals because they had plenty of shots, plenty of opportunities. Now I think looking forward into next week's return match is going to be very interesting because Paris Saint-Germain, they need to get points in the league. They need to go with the best team possible in the next league game and get 3 points. Meanwhile, Bayern, they are 7 points clear from Leipzig. They can actually rotate a bit. They can give some players a rest and then go with all the energy that they need into that Tuesday's match. So the timing now of next week is becoming crucial as well. And that's why I'm from a Bayern Munich point of view, I'm actually fairly optimistic that they go through.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.